Let's start thinking about getting this thing into orbit. So, what are the mass here? It is about 4.4 tons. So I'm going to get into my subassemblies. Somewhere. Here we go. Subassemblies. Take a look at the boosters that I have pre-built. Arrange them by mass. How about you? How will you do? It's got a really dumb decoupler on here. Let's take that decoupler. Oh, I took the whole engine off. Bum, bum, bum. Different decoupler. Decouplers. That one. Okay, this can't be right. The staging's got to be messed up. So we got the 3 boosters, then that, at the same time as that. This needs to be here. Let's fix that up. Okay. 5430 meters per second of delta V. I'm thinking about 1200. Oh my God, that's a ton. That is a ton, right? I'm thinking 3600 into low curb in orbit, about another 12, so about 4800. I guess it doesn't hurt to have more, but I might be able to do with a smaller booster than this one. Let's put you aside. Let's go to a different one. Let's go a little smaller. There is the Reliant RT2 booster, which has got a giant fairing on it, which it doesn't need. Basically much the same thing, but with 2 radial boosters on the side. That is 53. That's still a lot. What happens if I just... Well, let's keep stepping down. Stepping down my booster parade. I do have the swivel with hammers on it. That's not nearly enough. I have the swivels with thumpers on it. Dun, dun, dun. This is messed up. You know what? I'm going to go with this one. Plenty of delta V. Doesn't hurt to have too much. There is an unnecessary fairing there. Again, we will fix this decoupler. There. There. Staging, something's wrong, definitely. That needs to be with that. These guys here, let's take this fairing out of the staging diagram entirely. And then these decouplers are the ones that are up there that I'll do manually. Yeah, we'll go with this. Let's just go with it. It's probably need to take out a little bit of fuel, but it doesn't hurt to remove a bit of fuel. I already had some fuel out of it. Again, about 48. There we go. That's about 5,000 meters per second. That's way more than it needs. I think this should be good. This should be good. Let's play with thrust to weights. This needs to have more thrust. Lie like a launch thrust of 1.33. And then does this... Oh, it doesn't have a lot of thrust at the very, very top end. Let's swap out that swivel engine for a Reliant engine, which is a little bit more powerful. Just to get a little bit more kick at the top end. That helps. 1.99 thrust to weight at the top end. Need a little bit more. Actually, a little bit less here. The Reliant's lighter too, but it doesn't have the engine gimbaling. That's why. Play with fairing colors. There we go. I'm going with it. I'm going with it. Oh, wait. This only says 3,000. Oh, no. I'm in Atmo. 5,008 meters per second. That should be fine. 1.99 thrust to weight ratio on that engine, which is a lot. And then the top engine doesn't need that much thrust. I think I'm gonna go for it, just like this. Okay, let's save this. Action groups, and then we're gonna launch. Yeah, and head off to Minmus, hopefully. Shouldn't let myself get too far ahead. Okay, so on action group 5 goes this fairing. My KOS script will deal with all of that. On action group 0, which is what the script uses to say, hey, we're in space now, we're going to open up these guys. And we're also, if it will let me get here, let's open them this way. I'm also going to toggle on one of these antennas. It might not actually let me because it might think the doors are like they're going to trigger at the same time. And it might say these doors are open so the antenna won't deploy. We'll see what happens. And also, whoops, there should be... Oh, I'm missing. I must have took that off by mistake at one point. I'm glad I just noticed I am missing the Communitron DTS antenna for this bottom half of the probe. So that guy needs to be in the action groups too, and that will be on 0. We will deploy that antenna. Boom, boom, boomity boom, boom, boom. Let's give a little bit, a smidge more fuel. Get this back up over 5,000. There, 5,001. And of course, a little bit more thrust. There. All right. Okay, let's go through our final checklist here and make sure everything's okay. So fine print. The fine print for these contracts is just to map a certain percentage of the planets, so there's not much fine print. It'll have control. KOS, I do need to configure. I just realized this. That KOS core, I need to put in my boot file, and I need to up the disk space. And actually, while I'm thinking about it, I should up the disk capacity on that guy. Yep. Ooh, that added a lot of mass. Okay, a little bit more fuel. Didn't know hard drives were so expensive. And a little bit more thrust again. There we go. Okay, sorry, so that's good. Probe bodies, have they all been configured? There should be no other science that's done. So this one, no, it wants to do a temperature scan and a telemetry report. We shan't have that. None. Good. The other ones I think should be good. Yep. And yeah, no other science, no other science. Okay. Science been taken care of. Power generation, electrical storage, antenna strength, antenna speed, data storage, propulsion, RCS. Doesn't need it. Parachutes done. Thermal, lights took care of. Upgrades. The only thing I might upgrade, because this will be doing a lot of burns, is the Terrier. It has 23. That should be fine. I'm not going to upgrade it. Thrust to weight ratios are all fine. I tested the fairing already, and I've been checking my staging. My staging looks good. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. These are the Minmus mappers. People are asking names of the probes. So these are the Minmus mappers. I will probably call this Minmus Mapper A, Minmus Mapper B, and Minmus Mapper C. Once they are separated, I'll just rename them. Okay. Smart parts. Thank you. Just PX Delta just said smart parts. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. These older boosters, I keep forgetting to upgrade them. Smart parts take care of the staging for me. So for instance, this part will look for the solid fuel to go empty, and when that happens, it will trigger the stage action group, and that will obviously stage these boosters. And the smart part will probably go right here for this one, and it's looking at liquid fuel. When it gets down to 0, it will stage, and then it doesn't need any more. Thank you for the smart parts. Okay. Save again. Still got over 5,000 meters per second of delta V. I think we're good. So we are going to launch. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. All right, so here we are. We are all set and ready to go. I didn't test the booster at all. One thing. Let's go set Minmus as our target. Now, I always like to... Can I get rid of... Where is... I don't want to see that waypoint. I guess it's just going to be there anyway. Okay, fine. This is where we are. Now we want to launch. Actually, let's take the station off so we're not seeing it. There we go. Want to launch at the equatorial ascending or descending node of Minmus's orbit. Looks like we are approaching that. And I should have, now that I've selected Minmus as a target, I keep thinking, yes, here it is here. We are... I guess this one, 1,870. No, it's growing. Did we just miss our opportunity? Yes, we did just miss our opportunity. So we are 2 hours and 26 minutes away from the relative ascending node. I was confused last time I did this with the little L's, and the L stands for landed, of course. Okay, so I'm just going to quick save because I'm about to do some time warping. What we're going to do is we're going to time warp. I never trust my time warping until we are a few minutes. There we go. We're about 7 minutes ahead. Oh, got some seismic scan data. Looks like a sunset launch. According to this, we should be at the equatorial ascending node. It certainly looks good, doesn't it? We'll trust it. We'll trust it. And we're going to launch to the north at an angle of 6 degrees. And we are just losing the sun, it looks like. Okay, but that's what it is. Okay, let's see here. We are 6 minutes, and I want to go a few minutes ahead. I always do it a few minutes ahead because of the time it takes to get up and get your orbit all inserted. Let's go a little faster. 4 minutes. And 3 minutes. That's good. It's not at all precise here. Okay, we're going to run our launch script. We're going into a 6 degree orbit. We're going to go into an 80 kilometer orbit. That should do it. Let's punch it. And we're off. And so far, so good. And the whole plan with why you launch at the equatorial ascending or at the equatorial descending node with Minmus is so that, and launch, in this case, 6 degrees towards the north, is, for those people that have never done this or watched me do this, we will end up in a parking orbit that will be in the same plane as Minmus's orbit, which makes the transfer out to Minmus much, much easier, as you'll see once I do the transfer. But right now, why don't we just watch this? I see so many times, YouTubers as well, and experienced YouTubers, they just go right into an equatorial orbit when going to Minmus, and then they shoot out towards Minmus and then have to do a plane change along the way, a normal correction, which is not that expensive. I mean, I'll admit it, but I mean, why not just do it this way? It just seems so much simpler, so much easier. And if you don't have things like Kerbal Engineer to kind of help you out with this, you can just eyeball it. It works just fine. Okay, how are we getting here? Our apoapsis is about 35 kilometers. We just nerfed our thrust, or my script did. So you don't want to let that time to apoapsis get too far ahead of you. And it makes the launch more efficient, keeping the apoapsis just a little bit ahead of the rocket. All right. Good. And if I have this all timed out right, this should run out of fuel before we get to our target apoapsis. And I don't know, I did it pretty quickly, so it might not do that. There goes locking onto the prograde vector. Does that at 40 kilometers. I could probably do that earlier, but I don't know. I don't see a huge reason to change it now. And at 50 kilometers, we're going to lose the fairings. We got the sun setting there behind us. About 350 meters per second left in this lower stage, so that should work out well. There we go. Oh no! I saw bits breaking off. I saw bits. Okay, there's one solar panel broken here. If that's it, I think I'm okay, because I think this top one only needed the one, so it won't have a backup. Shoot! Stupid fairing. I think that's all that broke. I think the one solar panel that's on that matches that one broke off. But I believe I had that set up as a spare, so that should be okay. Okay, we're on to the Terrier engine. And we are almost at our target apoapsis. Okay, engine cut off. Let's time. Can I time warp? Sometimes I do the physics warp and these things go wonky on me, but it seems to be okay. Get out to space, and then at that point it's going to set up the insertion. Okay, 69, 70, there it goes. Stuff deploying, lights coming on. I should check to make sure. I want to make sure none of these scanners are on just yet. No, they're all off. Good, good, good. Okay, yep. Let's keep that on that window, though. Okay, 1 minute and 40 seconds away from that burn. And let's get out to Minmus. So we've got 183 meters per second left to finalize this insertion, but there's still 1941 meters per second, so this thing will have a ton of fuel. Should be able to do this all pretty easily unless I've completely botched my estimation of what this should cost. Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate Kerbalism doesn't really work well with SCANsat. I mean, it's, you know, SCANsat's still worth having for sure, so it's not a deal breaker by any stretch of the imagination. Here we go. Program has ended. Let's just leave it like this. I'm sure it's fine. Okay. Let's get to. I don't know. I don't think I get the science from the SCANsat stuff. I still get the scans anyway. But if you take a look at our blue orbit, this is what I was talking about. Notice how it is in the same plane as Minmus's orbit, which is in yellow. We have a difference in inclination of 0.2 degrees, which is nothing to complain about. Okay, where is Minmus? But what this means is our correction should be pretty small. Well, this should be about 920. I should just type that in. 920, not 9,209, 9,020. That should do it. And we'll just play around with the timing of this a little bit. The other way. Here we go. Let's get out towards Minmus. And I want to go into a polar orbit. So basically what I want is to come either north or south of Minmus. Let's play with this maneuver once again. Let's play with the timing. Can I get it? Yeah, that gets it closer. Oh, I think I'm going to need a little bit more prograde. Yeah. Whoop. Trying to get the timing just right, but I think I need to come in So you can see, if I wanted to hit Minmus, I wouldn't require any kind of correction at all. Unfortunately, I don't want to hit Minmus. It would have been better to be off a little bit so I come to the north or come to the south. So we will have to do an inclination change, but that's all right. That's not a big deal. I'm going to just adjust this so that this is... There we go. That looks good. All right. So that burn's coming up in 17 and a half. Yeah, 17 minutes. So let's time warp a little closer. Actually, just do it this way, silly. There we go. And we'll run our maneuver executor. I love me my KOS. So that's going to handle the burn for me. It is a 49-second burn. Which is actually pretty... What's my thrust to weight? 1.66. I might... which is fine. It's fine, but I might just turn it down a little bit after this. All right. Not a bad little probe for something I just kind of really banged together quickly. At least I think I banged it. Well, it's 3 probes, isn't it? There we go. A little bit of time warping. Make this go quicker. And let's see here, getting close, so I should turn the time warp off. And reducing its throttle at the end. And burn is complete. Okay. And program has ended. And then finally, we'll run our oh my gosh, it was a line, I think. A line to the dorsal vector? Was it a D? Hey! It's doing it right. And this is for the solar panels. See? So it puts the solar panel perpendicular, at least it should be. It's going to take a bit to settle down. Perpendicular to the ecliptic, which is this galaxy, which is good for solar exposure. Okay, let's go and make our normal correction. Should be done at about the halfway point. Now, am I going more above or more below? I think I'm going more below, though it's not by much. Play around with the timing a little bit. Oh, well, that's not going to make much of a difference, is it? Sooner. Oh, no, I'm at about the right spot. I always like to play around with the timing and just see what's the one that moves it the most. I can see I need to come kind of radially inwards here. This way? Nope, the other way. So I want to be polarific. Like that, and then normal down. And I want this to be at 300 kilometers. So this is a little bit of a correction. Oh, that's really close. This way. And it's not super precise that it has to be 300 kilometers. I'm trying to judge if this periapsis is really right below this. I'm not convinced it is. We can correct inclination when we get there. That's pretty darn close. That's 302 kilometers on our periapsis. That was too much of a change. There we go. 300 kilometers on that closest approach, because that is the optimal altitude for our first guy. And that maneuver is coming up in a day and a half. I think I'm going to do a quick save because, again, I just don't trust time warping anymore. And we're going to get out there. We're going to perform that burn. I'm noticing the burn takes 0.6 seconds, so I'm just going to really bring down that thrust limiter here. There we go, 9 seconds. And should I trust the X-Man script? Sure, why not? Let's run the X-Man script. Gets ready to do this. All right. Yes, those simulations were from the KRASH mod. I'm noticing this is more radial than it is normal. A little bit, didn't realize as much of this was pushing this sideways as it was pushing it down. Okay, it's coming up to the burn in about 5 seconds. Just want to watch it from here and see how this does. There it goes. I want that to be about 300 kilometers. We can obviously tweak this when we get to Minmus. Hey, I'm not going to complain about that at all. Let's reduce that. I got a feeling I'm not quite perpendicular, but you know what? We'll deal with it when we get there.